Hello students, I welcome you all to the 5th session of electricity. You will be having one more session in electricity. So totally 6 sessions in electricity. Answers for the questions given as assignment in your previous session, that is in session 4. First question, why are alloys used as heating elements rather than a pure metal? The answer is, the resistivity of an alloy is much higher than that of a pure metal. Also, an alloy does not undergo oxidation easily even at high temperature. Second question, which quantity remains constant when resistances are connected in series? The answer is, electric current. Electric current remains constant when the resistances are connected in series. Third question was a problem. And the answer is 12 ohms. If 6 resistors, each of resistance 2 ohms, are connected in series, then the resultant resistance is the sum of all the individual resistances, that is R1, R2, R3, R4, R5, R6. You should add all these resistances to get the sum. So that the sum is going to be 2 ohms added 6 times, which will be resulting in 12 ohms. In today's session, you will be studying these concepts. Differences between resistances in series combination and parallel combination. Domestic electric circuit, which is also called as household electric circuit. Disadvantages of series electric circuit. Advantages of parallel electric circuit. Electric power. Power voltage rating of electrical appliances. Electrical energy and its commercial unit. That means kilowatt hour. 1 kilowatt hour is equal to 3.6 into 10 power 6 joules. You will study that in detail now. Heating effect of electric current and Joule's law. This law is named after the scientist James Prescott Joule. So in today's session, you are going to learn all these concepts one by one. Dear students, in the previous session you all studied about the combination of resistances, in which combination you will be getting more resistance, in which combination you will be getting less resistance. Now you will learn in detail the differences between these two combinations, that is resistors in series and resistors in parallel. So we shall summarize the differences so that it will be easy to you to understand both the combinations. First one, that is resistances in series. About the wiring, that is how they are connected. You can see here in the diagram, two resistances are connected one after the other, that is back to back connection. This is called as series. So about wiring, that is about connection, you can say each resistor is on the same wire. You can see the wire is same. How many ever resistors you connect, the wire is going to be same for them. Coming to parallel, each resistor is on a different wire. You can see this resistor is in this wire and R2 is in this wire. So they both are connected together using different wires and they are connected in parallel combination. This is about wiring. Coming to voltage. What is voltage? Do you remember the another name of voltage? It is potential difference. So coming to voltage, in case of series, the voltage is divided for every resistor. It gets divided how many ever resistors you connect. So many potential differences you will have. That means different voltages for each resistor. So how many ever resistors you connect, so many voltages you will have. So totally it will be V1 plus V2 in this case. Coming to parallel combination, the voltage is same how many ever resistors are connected in parallel. So the total voltage will be the same voltage, that is V1 is equal to V2 is equal to total voltage. This is about the voltage in series combination and parallel combination. Then coming to current, that is electric current. The current in this case, that is in series case, it is going to remain same because the same current flows throughout the circuit. So the total current will be the same, which is for R1 and R2. So total current is equal to I1 is equal to I2. In case of parallel, it is different for each resistor. That means R1 will have the supply of I1 and R2 will have the supply of I2. So the total current will be I1 plus I2. Then coming to the resistance. So it is very clear that in case of series, the resistance will be increased because the total resistance in case of series is the sum of every individual resistance. So in series combination, the resistance will be increased. In case of parallel, the resistance will be decreased. So whenever you want very less resistance, you will be choosing parallel combination because the total resistance in case of parallel will be lesser than the least resistance used in the combination. So you can tell in case of parallel, the resistance will decrease. So these are the differences that you have to remember always. Hope it is clear to you all. Now we shall learn what is this domestic electric circuit. It is nothing but our household circuit. Did you ever see how the electricity is supplied to our homes? It is usually supplied through mains. And from that main it reaches to different switches in our home. So but how they are connected? Can they be connected in series or can they be connected in parallel? All those you should be knowing. To know that, you should be knowing what are the advantages of series connection in electric circuit and what are the disadvantages also. Similarly, you should also know what are the advantages and disadvantages of connecting electrical appliances in parallel. For that, you should be knowing what is series circuit and what is parallel circuit. As of now, you all know the resistance can be combined in series and resistances can be combined in parallel. You should also know how electrical appliances can be connected in series and how they can be connected in parallel. So in which case, which is suitable, all those you should be knowing. You will be knowing that now. So the first type of circuit, that is electric circuit in series circuits. So in series circuit, you can observe the diagram here. All the appliances, all the electrical appliances or electrical components are connected to one circuit and they are controlled by one switch only. All the items, that is all the electrical appliances, turn on and off at the same time. You can see here two bulbs are connected in this circuit and there is only one switch. And if you switch on this, both the bulbs will glow, and when you switch it off, both the bulbs will turn off. So this is your series circuit. There will be only one switch and only one circuit. In this circuit only the appliances will be connected back to back, how many ever you want, and it will be operated using a single switch. Hope it is clear what is series circuit. To be more clear, a series circuit will have a single loop, that is only one circuit. As I told you, it is a single circuit. So it has only one way to travel. It has a single loop for electrons to travel round. Components are connected one after the other, that is back to back in series. That is why it is called as series circuit. Current has to travel through all the components. So when the source is connected like this, when it starts moving from this point, initially it will move towards the switch, and when it is on, it will move in the bulb and then from the next bulb. Like that it continues. So the current should travel through all the components one after the other. And current is same at all the points. Since there is no division of current in series circuit, the current remains same throughout. but the voltage is shared between the components. Since the voltage is different for each component which is connected in series, the voltage will be divided. That means it is going to be different. So when the current starts from this point, the first bulb will get maximum voltage, and then the second bulb should share the same current which is turned into a voltage here. So you should remember, current remains same but the voltage gets divided for each component. How many ever components are connected in series combination. And remember all these points also. Now you will learn what is parallel circuit. In a parallel circuit, there is more than one path for the electric current or the electricity to flow. You can observe here, there are two bulbs which are connected in parallel to the same source. So what can you say from this? There is more than one path. You can see two different paths here. There is more than one path for the electric current or the electricity to flow through the circuit. Then in parallel combination, each appliance gets the full voltage. In case of series, the voltage was being divided, isn't it? So the first connected bulb or any electrical appliance would get the maximum voltage, and then the remaining voltage will be shared for the other appliances in case of series. Here, since the paths are different, so each path will get the same voltage. So the full voltage will be given for all the appliances, how many ever are connected in parallel. This is one of the advantages of parallel combination. And each appliance will have its own switch. So since the path is different, the path can have a switch which can be operated separately. So if one appliance is switched off, there is no effect on the other appliances. That is, if you switch on this bulb, it will glow. If you switch off this, it will stop glowing, but this will not be affected since the switches are different. Then coming to current, in parallel circuit, the current divides throughout the appliances. That means since the path is different, current will be divided. But voltage remains constant. Since the path is different, complete voltage will be received by both the appliances here which are connected in parallel, but the current gets divided. Hope it is clear to you all. Dear students, now it is clear to you all what is series circuit and what is parallel circuit, isn't it? Now you will be learning the advantages and disadvantages of series circuits and parallel circuits. First we shall study the advantages of series circuit. There are two advantages in series circuits. The first biggest advantage is, whenever you want to switch on all the appliances together, or whenever you want to switch off all the appliances together, in that case series circuit is very much suitable, because with a single switch you can operate all the appliances together. That means you can turn on or turn off all the appliances at once. This is one of the advantages of series circuit. Then coming to the flow of electric current. Since the current has to flow through all the components one after the other, the amount of current flowing will be smaller. So the damages will be very less in this case. These are the two advantages of series circuits. Then coming to the disadvantages. When designing an electric circuit, we should consider whether a series circuit or parallel circuit is better. For example, whenever you want to connect a large number of electric bulbs, for example 100 or thousands of bulbs for decorating purposes and all, in such cases series circuit is better, because all the bulbs connected in series can be controlled with one switch. But there is a disadvantage connecting to this only. Can you guess what it is? Okay, I'll tell you what it is. If one bulb, there are thousands of bulbs or hundreds of bulbs, isn't it, whenever it is connected for a decoration purpose. In that case, if one bulb fuses out, consider two bulbs in this example. Suppose if one bulb fuses out, the other bulb will also stop glowing because the circuit becomes open. It will not be closed. As I told you all, in series circuit, the current has to flow from one appliance to another. So when there is a open circuit in this place, it will not flow to the another bulb. So what happens in this case? The other bulbs, how many other bulbs are connected after that, will stop glowing. Not only that, once it gets fuses, before this bulb, if there are any bulbs connected also, will stop glowing. This is the disadvantage of series circuit. Connecting to this, there is one more disadvantage. Can you guess that? Do you think it is going to be very easy for an electrician to find out this fused bulb? It takes a lot of time because there are thousands of bulbs connected. So it will take a lot of time for him to find out which bulb is that. And again, to replace that, to make the circuit work proper, all those will take a lot of time. This is also a disadvantage of series circuit. Along with these, there are few more disadvantages also. You will be learning one by one. In series circuit, all the electrical appliances have only one switch. So, you cannot turn on or turn off any one appliance according to your wish. So, if you turn on, everything will be on, and if you turn off, everything will be off. You will not have a choice to choose the appliance which you want to work. So, this is also a disadvantage of series circuit. Then, in series circuit, the appliances connected in series will not get the same voltage because the power supply line of 220 voltage line is shared by all the appliances. The appliances get less voltage and hence they do not work properly. For example, all the bulbs connected in series, see the diagram, all the bulbs connected in series do not get the same voltage of 220 volt power supply line. They get less voltage and they will be glowing less brighter. That is because the voltage gets divided for every appliance. So the maximum voltage, the first bulb whichever is connected to the source will get, and thereon it will be divided. So each appliance will not be getting the full voltage how much ever it is required for their functioning. So what happens in this case? They start becoming dim. They will be not glowing very bright. This is also a disadvantage of series circuit. Then coming to the next disadvantage, in series connection, the overall resistance of the circuit will increase. Can you guess why it increases? Because it is due to the current from the power supply is low. I told you all the current should pass from one appliance to another. So in this case, the resistance is increasing because the current is decreasing. So all these are disadvantages of series circuits. Now you will be learning the advantages of parallel circuits. Coming to the parallel circuits, if one electrical appliance stops working due to some defect, then it will not affect the other appliances connected in the circuit. For example, if this bulb fuses out, only this will not be glowing. The other bulbs will be glowing as it is. This will not be affected by this bulb. This is an advantage of parallel circuit. Then, in parallel circuit, each electrical appliance will have its own switch. So, you can switch on or switch off any appliance according to your choice. For example, all the bulbs joined in parallel circuit in your home, they all have separate switches, isn't it? So, you can see that every bulb in your home will be having its own switch because they all are connected in parallel. What happens in your home if all the bulbs are connected in series? Then definitely the first bulb will be getting high voltage, so it will be glowing brighter, and other bulbs which are connected will be having lesser glow. That is why Each bulb should have its own switch and they should be connected in parallel. Only then they will be drawing the voltage whichever they require to glow bright. Then coming to the next advantage, in parallel circuits each electrical appliances gets the same voltage because the switch is different and the path is also different. In series the path was same, isn't it? But here for the current to flow it has different path. So what happens? The voltage will not be shared. Each appliance whichever is connected in parallel will get the maximum voltage how much ever this appliance requires. So the current gets divided but the voltage remains the same. That is also an advantage of parallel circuit. I told you all in case of series the resistance will be increased because of the current which is flowing through the same circuit in single loop. It has to pass through all the appliances. So the current is becoming less, so resistance is increasing as they both are inversely proportional. In this case, can you guess what will be the resistance? Is it going to increase or decrease? Definitely the overall resistance in case of parallel will be very less. In parallel connection, the overall resistance of the household circuit is reduced due to which the current from the power supply is high. Every appliance can therefore draw the required amount of current. For example, in parallel circuits, even the high power rating appliances like electric irons, water heaters and air conditioners etc. can draw the high current how much ever they require for their functioning. So, what is the another advantage? Appliances with different power rating can also be connected so that they will be getting the maximum voltage how much ever they require because the voltage is not going to be shared. This is also an advantage of parallel circuit. So hope it is clear to you all the advantages and disadvantages of series circuit and the advantages of parallel circuits. The next concept is electric power. What do you mean by power? You studied about the definition, isn't it? So power means it is the work done for a particular time. That is what you have understood power means, isn't it? Now in this chapter in electricity, what kind of work is done? It is electrical work, isn't it? So you can tell the definition in this way. When an electrical current flows through a conductor, electrical energy is used up and we say that current is doing some work. So this is the work done in this chapter. You should be knowing it in this way. So we know that the rate of doing work is called power, isn't it? So what will the definition of electric power be? Electric power is the electrical work done per unit time. How can you write it as a formula? You will know that now. So now we all know what is electric power, its definition. So how can you write it as a formula? According to the definition, it is electric power is equal to work done by time taken. So you can write it symbolically, P is equal to W by T. Consider this as equation number 1. All of you studied potential difference, isn't it? Do you remember what is the formula for that? V is equal to W by Q. From this, you can modify and write W is equal to V into Q. Give it as equation number 2. Now, if you consider this P is equal to W by T, if you replace W with V into Q, it is going to be like this. That is, P is equal to VQ by T. In the place of W, we are writing it as VQ. You also studied electric current and its formula, isn't it? That is, I is equal to Q by T. From this, you can modify and write Q is equal to IT. Now consider this equation which we already kept it ready. P is equal to VQ by T. In this equation, we shall substitute Q as IT. So that your equation will be like this. P is equal to VIT divided by T. In the place of Q, we are writing it as IT. Observe if anything can be cancelled. Yes, T and T can be cancelled. So, P is equal to VI. This is going to be your equation for electric power. And how do you measure this electric power? You require an SI unit, isn't it? So, the unit of electric power is watt. So, when can you say the value is 1 watt? If P is equal to VI, then 1 watt will be equal to the product of 1 volt and 1 ampere. To tell it in scientific terms, you will be writing it like this. Potential difference of 1 volt causes a current of 1 ampere to flow through a wire. The electric power consumed is 1 watt. This is how you define unit watt, which is also called as 1 watt. Hope it is clear to you all. This will be your derivation for electric power, where you derive the equation P is equal to VI and watt is the SI unit of electric power. This is the definition of unit watt. You all know the definition and derivation of electric power now. So you know that P is equal to VI. From this you should be knowing two more formula, that is two more methods of using electric power equation. First one, we know that P is equal to VI, isn't it? So in the place of V, we can write it as IR because V is equal to IR and we are having this from Ohm's law. So if you replace this V with IR, equation is going to be like this. P is equal to VI will become P is equal to IR into R. What is R into R? It is R square. So P is equal to IR square. This is another form of writing electric power equation. We also know that I is V by R, isn't it? We got this also from Ohm's law only. Now if you consider the same equation P is equal to VI, which you learnt in the derivation just now. Now if you replace I with V by R, it is going to be P is equal to V into V by R. What is V into V? It is V square. So V square by R. This is one more formula for P, that is P is equal to V square by R. So dear students, you should be remembering P has three formulas, that is P is equal to VI, P is equal to IR square, P is equal to V square by R. So all these are formulae for calculating electric power only. It depends upon the values which are given in the question. Suppose if V and I values are given, you will use P is equal to VI. Suppose if I and R values are given, you will use P is equal to IR square. Suppose in your question, if V and R values are given, then you will use P is equal to V square by R to find P value. Hope it is clear to you all. So these are the different formulae to calculate power. So you can find out power using V square by R, VI and I square R. Similarly, voltage can be found using these three formula, that is V is equal to IR, V is equal to P by I, V is equal to root of PR. Similarly, resistance can be found using these three formula. R is equal to V by I, R is equal to P by I square, R is equal to V square by P. Then electric current, the different formulae for finding electric current. I is equal to root of P by R, I is equal to P by V, I is equal to V by R. Dear students, don't be thinking that there are so many formulae to remember in this lesson. If you remember one formula correctly, you can modify the other formula according to the problem. You don't have to by heart all these. If you know the definitions and equations properly, you can apply that accordingly. You can write this in your classwork for reference. So now it is clear to you all what is electric power, what is the SI unit of that, and when can you say it is 1 watt, when is electric power going to be 1 watt, all those it is clear to you all. So now you will be learning what is this power voltage rating. Every electrical appliance will have its own voltage usage. That is, for example, radio, fan, electric bulb, all these will have an engraved plate on it. If you have observed that, you will be knowing, which tells us the voltage and the electrical power consumed by it. For example, if you look at a particular bulb in your home, it may have the figures like 100 watts and a hyphen followed by 220 volts written on it. Did you ever see? If you have not observed that, after the session you have to see that now. So what do you mean by 100 watts for 220 volt? 100 watt means this bulb has a power consumption of 100 watts, and 220 volt means that it is to be used on the voltage of 220 volt supply line. The power rating of an electrical appliance tells us the rate at which electrical energy is consumed by the appliance. For example, a power rating of 100 watts on the bulb means that it will consume electrical energy at the rate of 100 joules per second. In this table given here on the screen, you can observe the power voltage rating of different appliances and how much current do they draw for their working. A tube light, usual power is 40 watts and the power supply line is same, that is voltage. In India, the power supply is 220 voltage line only. So for every appliance it is going to be the same. This is the usual voltage. And what will be the current drawn for 40 watts? It will be 0.18 amperes. Likewise, there are many appliances given here and they will be drawing different amounts of current according to the watts they use. Few more examples are given here. An electric bulb may have powers of 15 watts, 40 watts, 60 watts, 100 watts or even more also. Depending upon the watts, they will be glowing more. More the watts, more will be the glow. But these days, these type of bulbs are replaced with different types of bulbs. The usual power of a TV set is 120 watts and that of an electric iron is 750 watts or even more. It depends upon the design and working of the iron box. Then electric heater can have up to 2000 watts. These are just for examples, so that you can understand which appliance will be having different types of powers. So now you all know what is the power voltage rating of different appliances, different electrical appliances, isn't it? So the power rating of an electrical appliance tells us the rate at which electrical energy is consumed by that appliance. You should be knowing this. Now, when do you say energy is consumed? When some work is done, isn't it? So it is obvious that electrical energy consumed by an electrical appliance is given by a product of its power rating and the time for which it is used. So you can tell electrical energy is power into time and it is measured in watt hour. Why watt hour? You know that electrical energy is a product of power and time. So power is measured in watts and time is measured in hours here. So electrical energy is measured in watt hour. If we take the power in watts and time in hours, the SI unit is going to be watt hour. So 1 watt hour is the amount of electrical energy consumed when an electrical appliance of 1 watt power is used for 1 hour. The SI unit of electrical energy is watt hour. It is clear to you all now. Actually, joule represents a very small quantity of energy, isn't it? And therefore, it is convenient to use where a large quantity of energy is involved. So, we have a bigger unit. that is called commercial unit of electrical energy, which is kilowatt hour. All of us know kilo means 1000. So kilowatt hour is a bigger unit of electrical energy, that is commercial unit of electrical energy. So 1 kilowatt hour is 1000 watts for 1 hour. So what will be the number of joules in 1 kilowatt hour? We shall find out that now. All of us know energy used is power into time, isn't it? And now we are calculating how many joules are there in this 1 kilowatt hour. Now we shall write this like this. 1 kilowatt hour is nothing but 1 kilowatt in 1 hour. So 1 kilowatt into 1 hour. 1 kilowatt means how many watts? 1000 watts, isn't it? So 1 kilowatt, we will be writing it as 1000 watts. And in 1 hour, how many seconds do we have? 1 hour has 60 minutes and each minute has 60 seconds. So 1 hour will have 60 into 60 seconds. That means 3600 seconds. So if you multiply these three quantities, you will be getting the value of 1 kilowatt hour in joules. So if you multiply these three, you will be getting 3.6 into 10 power 6 joules. So the value of 1 kilowatt hour in joules is 3.6 into 10 power 6 joules. Dear students, you should be remembering this as it is very important in few calculations. While solving numericals, this value is very much important. So I repeat, 1 kilowatt hour is equal to 3.6 into 10 power 6 joules. This can also be asked as a question to show that 1 kilowatt hour is 3.6 into 10 power 6 joules, where you have to show these calculations. Hope it is clear to you all. Now we will be studying one more concept, that is heating effect of electric current. This is one of the effects of electric current. There are three types of effects, that is chemical effect of electric current, which you will be studying in chemistry. Second effect is heating effect of electric current, which you are studying this now in this chapter. And there is one more effect which is called magnetic effect of electric current. You will study that in physics in second unit in 10th standard only. So now we will be learning what is this heating effect of electric current. When an electric current is passed through a high resistance wire, for example like nichrome wire, the resistance wire becomes very hot and produces heat. Because more the resistance, lesser will be the current supply, and the current which is supplied in that case is converted into heat. So this will be producing a lot of heat. The resistance wire which is becoming very hot produces a lot of heat, and this effect is called as heating effect of electric current. The heating effect of current is obtained by the transformation of electrical energy into heat energy, just like mechanical energy getting used to overcome friction. It is converted into heat, isn't it? In the same way, electrical energy is converted into heat energy when an electric current flows through a resistance wire. Therefore, the role of resistance in electrical circuit is similar to that of the role of friction in mechanics. Now you will be learning how to derive the formula to calculate heat produced in the electrical appliances. From the definition of electric potential difference, we know that V is equal to W by Q, isn't it? So from this, you can modify and write it like this. That is, W is equal to V into Q. Give it as equation number 1. We also know that electric current is I is equal to Q by T. From the definition of electric current, you have already learnt the formula, that is I is equal to Q by T. We can modify and write it in this way, where Q is equal to I into T. Give it as equation number 2. All of us know Ohm's law, isn't it? What is the equation? V is equal to IR. Give it as equation number 3. In this case, in this concept, we are studying about the work done. What is the work done here? The production of heat, isn't it? So, in this case, the work done is heat produced. So, W can be replaced with H. In this equation, you see equation number 1. So, here W is equal to V into Q. We can write it as H is equal to V into Q. Now, already we kept ready two equations for V and Q. What is the equation for V? V is equal to IR. And for Q, the equation is IT. If you replace those two in place of V and Q, we will be getting it like this. H is equal to IR into IT. What is I into I? I square. R into T is RT. So H is equal to I square RT. Since it is work done, it is measured in joules. So this formula, that is H is equal to I square RT, gives us the heat produced in joules when a current I amperes flows in a wire of resistance R ohms for a time of T seconds. Dear students, you should also be knowing that this is also known as Joule's law of heating. So according to this Joule's law of heating, the heat produced in a wire of high resistance, this is important to be written. The heat produced in a wire of high resistance due to the flow of electric current is directly proportional to the following. That is square of current, that is I square, resistance of the wire, that is R, time, which is written in the symbol T. So H is equal to I square RT. In this case, H is directly proportional to I square, H is directly proportional to R, H is directly proportional to T. That means more the current, more will be the heat. Similarly, more the resistance, more will be the heat produced. And more the time taken, more will be the heat also. And this law was given by James Prescott Joule. It is after the scientist only we are writing the SI unit of energy as joules. Now observe here, H is directly proportional to R. Think about the series and parallel combination of resistance here. We know that when two similar resistance wires are connected in series, then their combined resistance gets doubled, isn't it? But when they are connected in parallel, their combined resistance gets halved. So what can you say from this? So a given current will produce more heat per unit time if the two resistances are connected in series than when they are connected in parallel. So you should be knowing this in case of resistance and heat produced. Dear students, now it is assignment time. I want all of you to make note of this mind map of electricity chapter in your classwork. After that, the notes in which I have sent you all, the last page has the points to remember. I want all of you to write those points also in your classwork. You will have one more session in electricity. In that session, I will be teaching you all how to solve the problems based on the equations which you learnt in 4th and 5th session. Thank you.